All right. So that being said, I have a couple of people on this channel that have not had an opportunity to speak. Had a couple of people that left too. I believe that Kabaka, you're next. Tell me what you think about what we're talking about. This is about social distancing between the immigrants and African Americans. Kabaka, you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can. Welcome. Welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, I've been here for like for almost like an hour, actually listening to everything that is that was going on. And yeah, I'm very sorry for the couple of incidents that happened with some people, and it was really actually a knockoff. But yeah, but talking about the subject is actually, for me, what I was gonna say was that.
I'm sorry, your voice isn't coming off clear. Maybe you're too close to the mic, or I don't know.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you guys hear him well, or is it just me? Let me turn my thing down. Anybody hear him? And
he's coming through a bit muffled, Gina.
Muffled. That's the word. You're muffled.
Can you guys hear me now?
Much better. Go ahead.
Yeah. The point that I was gonna make was the difference between African Americans and Africans is actually more rooted into for, let me say, like about what happened with slavery and all that stuff. And actually, that's where the beginning is, because you have Africans actually who are taken from Africa and were sent into like other continents just to not to be like somebody's neighbor, good neighbor, but just to be a slave, just to work for actually these lazy beings that actually took over the land, just to work for them for these jobs like cotton, like like a lot of that stuff, just work for them so that they can thrive. And in those days, actually, cotton and sugar, it was the best. It was like anything like any country can deal with, and they can make like a lot of money, because cotton was more used in the wars they were fighting in Europe, or soldiers, everything, and it was the manufacture. It was like an industrial age, like everyone was trying to create something. So actually, these beings in America, actually, they used a lot of the opportunity of free work.
I'm so sorry, I'm not catching any of that. I'm sorry. I don't know about everybody else, but do you guys hear him? Or are you getting that? I'm so sorry. Click on the mic boost. Somebody said click on, you need to click on your mic boost. I don't know what that is, but do you know? Something's happening with the mic. Okay, while you work on that, let me introduce. You
have to go to his mic settings.
Go to your mic settings and do what?
Hold on.
Okay.
Go to microphone. There's a default microphone already.
Okay. So you're gonna go to your cam and mic settings. Is that what you're telling him?
Yeah.
Okay. And next?
I think you have to adjust your mic volume.
Yeah. Can you do that, Kabaka? Are you able to do that? While you work on that, let me just introduce Lamin London to the conversation. Lamin, welcome to the discussion. Tell me what you think about what we're talking about.
Hey, Hotep, Gina. Hotep, how are you?
Thank you for the I haven't looked at those the thing you sent me today yet, but I'm gonna check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you some more, man. Yeah, rise up to the people in the chat, rise up to, there's some funny people in the chat, man. I can't understand these divisions, but shout out to Malika, Bebe, they got your back, man. They got your back in the chat, man. There's some funny people. there's some odd people in the chat. I don't understand all these all these differences. You know what I mean? All these divisions, Gina. I don't understand it. I was saying that before I'd start, yeah. I want to say a collective thoughts goes out to the people of Haiti. As you know, they're suffering another earthquake, man. It's just terrible, you know.
Thank you so much. Check on my sister and everybody. Everybody's fine. It's more so in the north side. There's over 300 people counted already. So please keep Haiti in your prayers. I haven't checked since earlier. I just don't even want to look at it. It's really fucked me up how Haiti keeps going what they're going through. I promise you, it's just like I don't really feel like these are natural earthquakes right now. But that's a whole different conversation.
That was my thoughts exactly, Gina. When I saw that again, you know, I'm thinking, this again, man, this has got to be something man-made, you know. They're punishing Haiti for standing up, you know what I mean? And they're showing, you know, they're making...
This is another aspect of what makes me upset, Lamin, because I know that where war is being waged on us on different planes throughout the world. And we're sitting here talking about something that we need to get over really fast so we can get to the work. And the big aspect of us not being able to protect ourselves as a people universally is because we're not unified. Unity fait la force. And the minute we realize that our force and our strength and our superpower is unity, we're going to be able to do some things. But we can't get to them things because we're stuck on the somatics. And that's really what bothers me. But go ahead, Lamin.
Exactly. I just want to make 2 points, Gina, right? One is that I remember my father, I didn't grow up with my father. He lived in Queens, New York, yeah, all my life, yeah. I didn't know him from when, but I went to visit him one time in Queens, yeah. And when I went to the neighborhood, yeah, I went to the shops, and these people were speaking Spanish at me. So I'm thinking, what's going on? And then, because I don't speak Spanish, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what's going on? But then I realized this neighborhood is actually a Hispanic neighborhood, yeah. It's everything's Hispanic. These are all black people looking like me and you, but they're Hispanic. So I'm like, wow, this is like you know what I realized, the same as in London, that these our places are split. We're split up into neighborhoods, man. This is all, we're all separate by language and by where you come from, and it's the same in London. The second point I wanted to make, right, when you was talking, I remember when I was at school, yeah, when the continental Africans came into the school, man, we used to be really horrible to them, man, because the majority of...
Thank you. Am I the only one that remembers that? Oh my God. I promise you, these are facts. We got to be honest on both ways. Thank you. Go ahead.
And it actually burns me to look at it now, the way I am now, because we used to be, because the majority of our school used to be people whose parents were Jamaican and Caribbean. Majority of them came from Jamaica. Yeah, so we had our clique and we run the school, you know. But when the continental Africans, we used to make monk. Oh, you know, really horrible. And I realize now. Imagine as a child, yeah, coming back from wherever they come from, you know, you don't know what torture or what they're running from, and a child come to the school and come to all that animosity and wickedness. So I say to myself, I say to the ancestors, man, you know, and please forgive me, you know, because I was a child. I didn't know, you know, you don't really know what you're doing, you know, you don't really know. So totally different. But those are the two things.
I remember, man, because I remember there used to be this term. There used to be this little African boy. I'll never forget. I don't know if I was in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, don't remember. But they used to call him an African booty scratcher. And guess what? I think this is something that we used to call each other too, you know, and at that time they didn't even know I was Haitian, but this is what we were, but we were mean. And it's funny because when you think about a child that grows up that way, and when they get to a certain point, I mean, when they get to a certain point and they get to a level and they feel like, well, they're better than you. Yeah, they're going to flaunt it. It's a bunch of, we've done these things to each other, and we've just like, you know, our Baba, you know, Mr. Fuller said, we need to stop acting like, you know, any of us are innocent in this, and just take responsibility for what we've allowed to happen in our communities and in our ciphers, and let's do better, and let's be the friends that we were looking for back then and didn't know how to bring it together. That's all I'm saying. We can't sit there and say, hey, look what you did, it's on you, or look what you did, it's on you. It's got to be on all of us. This word burden is problematic when we only put it on one person. But the word burden, it becomes a thing of pride. If we could just, if I have the burden, you have the burden, then yeah, we can do this. But if you're saying that, oh, the burden is on us, no, then you're making me feel like I'm doing something to you, and that's not okay. But if you're telling me that the burden should be on me, then you're making me feel like you're doing something to me. No, but where we need to be is to understand that the burden is on us to do whatever we need to do to make sure our future selves are not in a place where we are thinking that we are the enemies to the people that we need to be, to be unified with. And that's the most important thing. I told somebody yesterday, and I mean this, and I mean it. I am not an immigrant to an African American. Can't be, won't be, you can't make me. I am not an immigrant to an African. Can't be, won't be, you can't make me. A Jamaican, a Trinidadian, anybody that came from the continent of Africa, I am not a burden because this is my relative. This is my people. How can I be an immigrant to my people? We're the only people on this earth that don't understand that we need this unity more than anybody else in this world. We can play all the games we want to play. You did this to me. You did that to me. You don't appreciate what I've done in this world. Look at Haiti right now. Haiti set the pace for all of us. And guess what? Look at their situation right now. Yeah. Who's showing them any appreciation, love, respect, and attention? We'll get over that though, right? And I should. And like when I told my Haitians, and I always tell my Haitians, Haiti didn't do that. And the reason that Haiti stands alone is because Haitians don't understand. They didn't do that by themselves. Africans put that work in. And they needed to stay connected as Africans. But they wanted to be French. And they wanted to be everything else, but, they kept the culture, they kept the food, but they wanted that, they wanted to parlez-vous français and act French. I'm sorry. Right. If we're going to be Africans, we're going to be Africans. We got to let go of those little Mzungu titles that they gave us. And those Africans on the continent need to let go of those Mzungu titles that they gave them too. And that's the reality of it. I mean, we're sitting here. We're going to be here for another 100 years trying to respect each other. Exactly. And we're not going to respect each other because we're still trying to hold on to those crumbs that they gave us. So how could we receive anything else when our hands are full of crumbs? Let go of the freaking crumbs so we can go and partake of what was left for us. That which will fill us as a people. I mean, I sat there and I promise you, I listened to, and I was trying to come to a place of, I understand we all come from different cultures and we all have different cultures. But if we don't come to a realization that the biggest problem that we've had has been this wanting to see ourselves as different and continue it and justify it and fight for it. The realest thing I heard today was somebody saying, hey, the reason that I'm different is because this is what happened to me in my culture. And that has caused me to be different. And I see that now. That's the real truth. Some of us grew up in houses where they made us think a certain way, see life a certain way, conditioned us a certain way. And some of us, it's not our households. It's the country or the continent that we came from that makes us like that. But let's all look outside of those things and try to see what's better. What can we do better for the betterment of all of us? Can we work as all of us? Or is it futile? Is it something that just cannot be done? Do we still hold on to our individual little baskets of crumbs and just get, when they're ready to put the chains back and put us back into slavery, that they could just do so because we're so divided and so weak? I don't know about you, but I know that we're weak on this earth, as we are. We are a weak people on this earth if we do not unify and we do not stand in a place of power. In a place of power for you and me is understanding that our superpower is unity.
I think we've been in this place.
I want to welcome. Go ahead, Lyman. You finish up so I can welcome Renoko and then Black Righteous Folk and Powwow Yande is back. Go ahead.
Welcome to Roy and the panel. I just want to land on this. I think we've been in these places too long. I just want
Something's
to land on this.
going on with your connection, or is it? Let me just. Yeah, I think it was Renoko. Go ahead, Lyman.
Yeah, I'll tell you this story.
I'm sorry.
Gina, listen to this. Yeah, there was a lion. Yeah, from Africa, right? He got stolen, kidnapped, put in London Zoo. Now that lion, right? He had children, then he had grandchildren. Yeah, the children were born in captivity, right? But they were still lions, yeah? But their reality is that they are in a zoo. They're being fed by the zookeeper. They're being kept by the zookeeper. They didn't know the things of their grandparents and the lions. And then they even didn't remember the lions in Africa where they came from. You understand? Yeah. So this is our in a nutshell. Yeah, we've been in these places too long. We're arguing over. I mean, I'm looking at the chat. This FBA, and I don't even know what this FBA is. What is all this crap? Where's all these differences? You understand? It's so much differences and pettiness, right?
Some people believe that they're not Africans. That's fine. I don't know why you're still on this channel. Go not be Africans somewhere else. Okay, and if you want to get off with them and not be Africans, follow them. This right here is a channel for Africans and immigrants that are truly trying to basically work it out.
Yeah, forget about these differences.
And just work it out. And this is probably the beginning of many conversations because, to be honest with you, there are some chips on our shoulders.
That's right.
And we need to get those chips off because we got work to do. Man, we have work to do. They are chopping our leaders left and right. Every time we get one, they chop one. I mean, anytime that we have a leader that's standing up for something that's going to protect us or cover us, they delete him or them. They keep us at a certain level of poverty where we need to, I mean, be it that you're on continent, off continent, wherever you are, you're struggling. And I mean, how much more do we have to go through as a people for us to understand it's time for us to work together? Maybe we need to hear from the white man. I love playing them.
Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is just give you some charts and a couple of tables just to paint a little bit of a picture that you already know. Okay, so what this presentation is fundamentally designed to say is this. Africa, historically, sub-Saharan Africa, has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. Okay? And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is.
Okay, so that being said, Rokoya, I want to welcome you to the conversation. I don't know what else. I mean, do we need them to come and give us like every white human on this earth to tell us the truth before we understand that our only hope is unity? I don't get it. Go ahead, Rokoya.
Well, greetings from Ghana. I really, I'm so glad to be able to make it again. It's pretty late, but I'm having a serious insomnia, so maybe let me just call in here and chit chat for a minute. It's been great, but you know what? This is one of the realest shows I've ever heard, and I'm so happy that we're getting courageous and we're bold and we're talking about the things that have kept us really from really talking to instead of talking at. And this is one of the things that I really personally work on. I'm constantly trying to build bridges because the conditioning is so severe that I say potato, you say potato, and that's the breakdown in the conversation right there. And we don't realize that we're saying the same things with a different accent, or
Yeah.
we're saying the same things with a different projection. We have become so conditioned in trying to be validated by the oppressor that we forget that the oppressor is the person responsible for our messed up situation. Because every one of us, immigrant, African American, Caribbean, we're vying to be the good black one. Oh, we're the good ones. We're the ones who are not who are not the savages. We're not the ones. Oh, we're the ones who are just like you. Oh, we're the ones who are proper and speak your English. That is what is at the core of our behavior. And I always say that until we can regain the African mind, the mind of our original ancestors, the people who faced the world and faced the world as Black people proudly. They were so proud that they called their land the land of the Blacks. They differentiated themselves. They said, we are Black people, Black like the soil. If you look at every African language, authentic African language, the people address themselves as the people of the dark skin. They were so proud. But somewhere in this engagement with other people, we have forgotten about that. So when I see someone rejecting the other because of nationality, or you're of a different tribe, or these are all very recent things that have occurred in Africa. Let me tell you something. We were tribal. We were absolutely proud of our tribe, but that did not mean that we remain in enmity with other tribes. Before the white man stepped foot in Africa, the kingdoms had ambassadors. The Benin kingdom, as far as 1500, knew enough to send an ambassador to the Ashanti kingdom. And they still have those relationships traditionally today outside colonial borders. That is our people. The Ewes would go into partnership to fight other people. They understood nationhood. So we were not tribalistic, but we were tribal. And I do not perceive that as being a negative. It became negative when colonial interests decided to pit one group against the other through divide and rule. And the same things have continued. When they perfected the divide and rule in North America and used it to clear the Native Americans from the land, that became the prototype for colonialism. And they took that everywhere they went.
Everywhere.
They create this template, and we need to understand. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. I want us all to be brave to say what our experiences are and to share, because at the end of the day, it's when we talk to each other that's when we can actually heal and begin to become the united family that we need to be to confront a world coming up soon where we may even lose our motherland, because these people have their eyes set on it. They want it bad, and they'll do anything to get it. So we must become the warriors of the future. And I'll leave it at that and have some peace.
Man, I miss that voice. Thank you so much, Rokoya. Thank you.
I'm glad I joined you guys.
Thank you. I have missed you, and I promise you, this is all of it, y'all. This is really it. We are broken all over the world. all over the world, we are broken. So are we gonna just keep looking at these broken pieces and saying, look how you're broken, and then I'm gonna look over there and say, ooh, look how you're broken. Oh, you're broken over here. Or are we gonna just get in the room? You know how you step into the room and the shit is fucked up, it's just dirty. If you stand at the door and don't walk in, you will just walk away, because the thought of doing it will be too much. But if you step in and just start picking shit up and cleaning it up, guess what? Next thing you know, the room will be done. It will be clean. This is the type of stuff that we're in. It's a mess all over. We have stepped on each other's toes all over the place. We have done each other wrong. We have not appreciated each other. We have disrespected each other. We have looked down on each other. We have done all those things, and it hasn't just been done. I mean, it's not just being done from one continent or to a country or to one tribe to a tribe, one person to, no, it's on all levels, all planes. We even do it in our own personal households. We do it to our children. We do it to our men. We do it to our women. We do it to our sisters. We do it to our brothers. We sit there and we do it all over, but we act like this is something different. The same stuff that's happening in our personal lives is happening in our interpersonal lives with our brothers and sisters. And we don't understand that it's all the same. I mean, Nearly Fuller said it, man. It's really part of their code is to keep us off code. And it works, because guess what? Some of us are still stuck in it. And then you got people like that dude, what was his name? Doggy's dog, whatever, little dog, whatever his name is, that was in the comment section. So I said, go back to, yeah, that's what we want you to get out of our country. What country, bro? You don't have no country. If you look like me, you have no country. They don't respect you. You see, the thing we need to understand is that they don't treat you any better. And it's not because of us that they're not treating you right. It's not because of us they don't appreciate you. It's not because of us that they're not giving you the love that you think you need to get because you've worked for it and earned it. They don't love you because you are us. You're African. It's all of us they don't love. Period. Period.
Sister.
That's not going to change. That's not going to change until we change it. Now, how are we going to change it? That should be the question. Those of you that feel like you're Indian and not even African American, I don't even know why you come on my channel.
Sister, give me time to talk a little bit. Kahaya.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sister, you know, it's just because maybe we don't know who we are. And then also we don't know who we should have to be. You know, when I see the person who is talking about the Africa, you know, sister, we should have no anyone to rule us in the world. We should have us to rule the world. But because we don't know who we are, because we don't know where we are come from, this is something what I see. The most of European American, I'm from Tanzania. I'm Jacob. Is it Jumbo? Jumbo is talking to you. Yeah, what I see is just because I don't know what is making us, we don't know where we are come from. And then it don't give us a confidence to know what we should have to do. Because if you see, when we are coming out from America, because we see America maybe a little bit, the black, they have selling them, maybe they know what is going on. And then we are coming to see them, they don't know what is going on. We feel like, you know, you are tired, you feel like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who we are. Why we can't come just together to know who we are, because we can rule this world very well.
Yeah.
Very well. But what's the problem? There is a lot of negative people inside of between black by black. Black by black, they are killing each other. Black by black, they don't love each other. This is something which really I don't know why. Please, please, we have everything. Everything what in the world they want, we have it. We are rich. We didn't have to go to beg anyone to help us. It's just what we need. You have your education. You have what the education and how to. We have everything. We don't need anyone. And it's just Black America. You have any idea? Back to Africa. Connect with our brother and sister. Give them. Let's do what we should have to do it. But while we are staying here, somebody is coming and say the different negative. America is nothing for you. Well, European is nothing for you. Is no anyone is gonna be.
Somebody mentioned in the comment section, Kaya, what you just said makes a lot of sense. Somebody mentioned in the comment section, look at what Haiti's going through right now with the earthquake, and the murder, and the things. You know, to be honest with you, we're stuck in these places that they put us in. And I'm not saying that we should abandon them because we don't have to.
No, sister, I have to finish this. If anyone to listen for this.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. But it's
we have no anyone who can come to help us if we will not help our own way to follow our resource which we have to produce, to sell for them. Even food, they don't have food enough. Any food which is Africa is producing the food to feed them. So why we can't just come together and need to build together and to protect together to do it? Even me, I can say we is shy in this world. We are shy because we should have known to see we have, I don't know, Chinese is coming to America from Chinese to come to Africa without to see in America black man is coming to Africa to do something, to be rich, to go to take another one, to build in Africa, to take our resource for our own way, to be rich for our own way, to take our old for our own way. What happened for us? What happened? You know, sometimes when you see you're black, you feel like, maybe it's mistake. It's no mistake. Your original person. But it's just we don't know. We're here just talking. You can see somebody can come and bring the negative things. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know where you bring this. If you follow very well, we should have not to be even here. We should have to go to build our castle, let to make our great, let to do our things. Africa can do it, but it will take a long time. But if you come home, take your part. We can take our part. Let's do it together. Well, we should have no respect, because if you don't know your history, where you come from, there's no anyone who can respect you. You are like nothing. Sister, I'm telling you, you are like nothing. So we have to change this mind. If we will not change, no anyone can change us. No anyone can change us. We have to change our mind. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, I want to move along and ask everybody put yourselves on mute. Okay. My brother, 4 Black righteous folk home. Welcome to the conversation. Thank you for being so patient. Tell me what you'd like to share with us today. For Black righteous folks, are you still there? All right, well, moving along, let's go to the next person. Are you still there? It looks like you put yourself on mute. You want to unmute yourself? Go ahead. We cannot hear you. I apologize, my brother. We cannot hear you, or sister, I'm not sure. We cannot hear you. Okay, so, hello? Okay, so I want to welcome, was it Big Z or Tunija? Who came first? Big Z, I think it was you. Tunija, welcome. Big Z, please tell me what you think about what we're talking about today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Tunija did come first, so
okay,
let's let Tunija talk. I am still processing this entire conversation.
Please process. Thank you. Okay, so Tunija, I'm so sorry. I didn't think I was going to see you tonight, Tunija. Thank you for coming through. I know you've been stuck in those Nigerian streets.
No, I think I saw this topic. I was just held up with something. So, yeah, I really am. I heard about what happened in Haiti today. So,
man,
I'm
in two places right now. I'm looking at my phone and I'm talking to you guys, and I'm not in a good place right now because I'm really feeling like there's a full-on war, and this is not a natural earthquake. I don't give a damn what nobody say anymore. That's just making no sense to me. So the earthquake is going to section off each different parts of Haiti at a time. Okay, please. But go ahead, Nigel. I'm sorry. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I really am. How did they say express condolence and this thing for what Haitians are going through? Because for the last 1 month, I've been trying to follow what happened with the president and everything. It's just not. I find it really astonishing the way our people behave, and they don't see it. I guess we are the ones that are, we are conscious of these things, and sometimes it's very hard to believe that others don't care or don't see it, what is going on. And when I heard about that today, I just felt like, okay, this is getting out of control now. And the Haitians, man, at this rate, if they destroy their government, I don't know, man. Because the government, what I've been hearing is just so frustrating. They are frustrating investigation, frustrating everything.
They're Africans. What can I say?
Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, exactly. And including Africans too. The way Africans treat Haiti and their diaspora is like
those are Africans in Haiti acting like that. The same leadership that's going on in the continent, where these people are getting all the money they can, filling up their pockets front and back and running. Going to another country. That's exactly what they're doing. The same thing they're doing in places in Africa. Just the greed, just the selfishness. And I'm gonna tell you something, guys. A lot of times, I try not to get into certain things, but I'm really not gonna be holding back. There's just a bunch of greedy ass Black people in this world. And that's just part of our big problem, because people are selfish. They have their own interests. They put their own self-interest in front of everything, and they will stop. They will be a part of the disunity of our people just so they could, keep making the buck that they make, devising us, making, some of them, they just cannot speak unity. So, to keep making the types of money that they're making and getting the payoffs that they're making, or the likes, clicks on a small level, it's just people with YouTube channels that be negative. So they want to keep it negative, and they don't care. They don't care that really what they're doing is filling up their pockets, but they're spreading a whole bunch of divisiveness that's not going to get us nowhere. Like telling somebody that, is melanated, that they did not get in America via the slave ships because they're Indian.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's crazy. And, one lady said something that I find very poignant, that even goes beyond some of the stuff people talk about, I'm Indian, I'm Aborigine and all the rest of it. She said something about this African think tank guy put her up on his channel. He said, she said something about, when I see you, I see me, and they do too. When you pretend as if you are different, there are so many people. I was engaged with quite a few of them yesterday, and they were talking about how our fates are all linked at all because we are this is African Americans. We are like special, and this one, It's like, how stupid can people be? How naive can people be about these things? What makes you think they see you any differently from any other one of us? They don't see you differently, no matter how much you try to think you are special. It's like, when they say, during the that era where you have they say field slaves and house slaves and stuff like that. They try to say that the ones in the house are different. They are not. They treat you people as horrible as the other, and the resources you get, your fates are not any special compared to what is out there for you. What your inheritance is. Some of them just now are comfortable with mediocrity, really, living a life of little accomplishments, that their children's prospects is attached to other groups. This in the decision making. It's just unbelievable stuff. Some of the stuff you hear, the hatred some of them show against their own kind, even without any. You would think it's an African that goes about on the street shooting African Americans, the way some of them behave. You would think it's an African that goes to court and makes sure African Americans get convicted. Then maybe Africans come to America to make sure they are tortured, as if Africans are not suffering themselves. Africans, our life expectancy is almost 10 to 20% on average lesser than that of the West. These things have been happening, and for me, if our people are kind of in touch with each other, there's no way all this stuff that has been happening to Haiti will be happening without seeing the American Black Caucus in that country to come and say, okay, I'm sorry to hear what you are going through. If anything happens to Israel today, you see Jews from all over the world show up and show their support. Our people, they just act as if it never happened. From Africa to Europe to this in the US, they will just pretend as if it never happened, and then they want to talk about critical race theory. They want to talk about what happened to police reform. That one, they've completely forgotten about that one. They want to talk about electoral reform. They keep dangling all this is in front of us, and we just keep falling for it, and our people are completely divided. If anything, they are fighting hard to remain divided. You can't believe some of the things I heard yesterday. One of them, he appears to be that black guy that was on this channel. I was having a conversation with him yesterday. He was hell-bent on saying that we are not similar, but in the end, it doesn't even matter whether we are similar. It's how they see you that matters now, because you only place people you have as allies. Because if everybody says, okay, you know what, we are going to kick all these people out of this party, and you are one of them that they want to kick out of the party, if I was some people, I would decide to gang up and try to remain in the party, instead of pretending as if you are different from the other people they are kicking out of the party, and start dividing yourselves, and then you all end up outside anyway. That's what's been happening all over the world. And these people don't even understand that logic, that if somebody sees you people as a group of people, maybe you should try to start functioning like that, because if you pretend otherwise, you're just weaker. You're just simply weaker. You can't pretend as if the other people will accept you, because they never did, and they will never. Their history has suggested that they will never, because they don't understand the concept of accepting. All they understand is buying time. The reason why we are standing here today is because of our strengths, and some of the strengths that we don't even know we have. They don't understand the concept of sharing until you earn it. And to be fair, why should they give to us? Are we children? We have to earn our right to be anywhere. If those people feel like they don't want to work with the people that are willing to do the right things, fine. Let them do whatever they want to do. I think the ones that have the vision for all these type of things should be moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm not going to wait for people that want to change. When they see progress, they will follow. And I think this is the truth of life. Some of people will never turn around. They will never change their views until they see progress, because progress, invites all kinds of characters. question is, where is the tip of the spear? Where is the direction we have? Because right now, I rarely see any direction. Maybe it's deliberate, like African leaders, they are not doing anything deliberately to try to solve problems for Haiti or interact with African Americans. Nothing. They pretend as if African Americans don't exist, African Brazilians don't exist. They just pretend. They know fully well that they are there. They just pretend as if they don't. And is it because they're afraid? Sooner or later, this fear has to pass. It has to pass, and it cannot pass for an excuse anymore.
Can I ask you something tonight? This fear that we're feeling, I know we feel it not just outside of the continent. I know the fear is on the continent as well. How do we go? I mean, this fear, we justify it. We're protecting it. I'm afraid that we're not going to get away from it.
We have to. We don't have a choice. And this is why 2023 is very important. And I fear that there's all kinds of machination in store for Nigeria. Before Nigeria will make it through that period, they will try everything to destabilize that country. And if we make it through 2023, the next president that will come in is going to make a lot of difference. Because this president no matter how crazy this president is, he did lay some foundations in terms of infrastructure and some sense of rule of law. Because I've seen it whereby a Supreme Court orders a governor removed from office and then puts another governor in office.
Let me show you this. This is fair. He says, go Pekka. I don't know if this is a male or female. I apologize. Looks like a male in the picture, though. Mickey Lee, you must never forget that those people are the descendants that sold your ancestors. Treat them as enemies until they prove otherwise. All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah, what somebody said something that I find very interesting because it's quite accurate. He said, when all these the diasporans say this sort of stuff, what they forget is that there are Africans standing in Africa today that they stole their parents from them. That they are descendants of the people that were stolen from Africa. You think they took every person that they took from Africa? They didn't have children. They didn't have brothers. They didn't have cousins. There are people that lost people in Africa today during that period. Did they say all Africans are their enemies because of that?
Remember when I first started this channel, one of the first videos I posted was about this anger and this pain that I had towards Africa and Africans regarding us being sold. I felt like that was something I was holding on to, and I thought me making that video, I thought maybe I was the only one. I didn't realize how many of us are holding this pain in. Yeah. And until you actually verbalize it to your brother, to an African brother, because none of us was there. I wasn't a part of the actually sold, and you were, and they're not the part of the actually people that sold, and we're not the ones that were, but we are still reaping the benefits of those things. Yes. But at the same time, until you could stand up and talk to your brothers and sisters on the continent and say, hey, I'm holding on to this pain. And then they will tell you what they're holding on, and we'll be able to really hear each other and maybe understand that, those folks that was there making those decisions, if that is even the case, because that's not actually the case in all cases. Sometimes people did go into villages with guns and storm in, and just take people. And it wasn't always people that looked like us. There are many circumstances to us getting on those slave ships. And you're right. In some cases, yes, some people were sold. But guess what? Some of the times, you have to look at it this way. We're still selling each other out in America. We're still selling each other out in Haiti. We're still selling each other out in all those places. We don't need to blame them for us being sellouts. Look what they did to Malcolm. Look what they did to Martin. Look what they did. Look what we continue to do to our leaders. Look what we continue to do to our babies. I mean, black men, not, for the most part, not present in the family. We are still selling each other out in certain ways. So the problem is deeper. It has not. We can't just look at it like this, man. We got to go deeper and try to figure out Are we going to stay disunified forever? Okay, so this thing happened, and it's gonna. I mean, if you look at the European and you look at some of the things they've done to each other, look at how they came at a table, sat down, and divided to divide us and divide the whole continent. But if you look back in history and you think about some of the stuff they've done to each other, you would be surprised. But they were wise enough to understand it stops here. Let's do something for our future selves. Now, we may not agree on all things, and we're gonna come to a lot of places where we're just, not. But when it comes to them, we're keeping them out. We can't even come together to try to get a seat at the table because we're gonna keep.
That's a very strong point.
Where they put us. Go ahead, tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a very strong point. And when people keep talking about Africans, we divide ourselves and all this. That is what bothers me a little bit. And I feel like, there has to be something else going on here, because every other group in the world have their own organizations in a way that protects them from the other bigger groups. And it's a very simple world from the way they group themselves. The EU, the Asian people, and the American, the NAFTA, and all of everybody groups themselves in a certain blocks. And the only group that is so weak that even if they claim to have groups, they are basically absent. Even if the Africans didn't have Haiti as a full member, Haiti is an associate member. They are observer status. They have observer status in Africa. How is that they are silent when it comes to Haiti? How is that the Black caucus in the US are literally silent when it comes to Haiti? It's crazy. I just can't believe not even one of them, a nation that offered to free all of them at the height of their power. Not one. What is going on here? Sometimes I feel like it's as bad as what happened to Moise, where his own guards abandoned him and disappeared. There is something really, really ominous going on in the background that we don't really know until you are in positions of power, because it means if you don't understand what is really going on, all these discussions we are having here is not aligned to reality. Because there's how does all the guards, all of them, not one, decide to take a bullet or even get a graze? All of them. How about none of the House of Black, politicians that are in power, none bothers to mention anything from the US? How about Africa? Something is not right.
Tunaja, can I come in real?
Yes, please. I think you did talk about this sort of issues. Please, I would like to hear why this is so. The control is so strong at that level.
I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it based on just my reading and all that, and I think that it goes back to the notion in terms of Africa engaging the outside. Africans, meaning everybody who's melanated, encountering another group of people. And I've made this analysis before in one of our conversations when I said that the greatest barrier to Africa in terms of its own development and its own ascension has been this physical barrier called the Sahara Desert. Okay? The Sahara Desert, as a physical obstacle, kept Africans south of it, outside the quote unquote the point of human and civil evolution beyond Kemet and beyond Egypt. What I'm saying is this: human beings progress based on exchange of information. And if you see that 2,000 years ago, the place where there was a lot of information exchange is what we call the Middle East today, because it sat at the place where Asia and Europe and Africa came together. So, and all these land masses were contiguous. They were not separated by ocean. So people could literally walk or travel from China and come into the Middle East over the mountains of the Himalayas. Europeans could also come through Europe, travel through Turkey, and come into the Middle East. Africans could do that as well. But when and I want to say this, and anybody who wants to follow it can also do more research on it. The actual evolution of the Sahara Desert, according to topographical maps and stuff, it's a new formation on Earth. It's not more than 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. And when you go up into the satellites, you can see that land mass itself was riverine. It was water. It was wetlands, and it was a place that was settled by people. But something happened drastically, and within 200 years, that place became desert. So the people had to move and in search of water. So most Africans then moved into the jungles. But before, if you understand anthropology, people live in grasslands. So I believe that even before people moved south into the jungle, most of African settlement was in today what we call the Sahara Desert. They've just unearthed a city of 70,000 dwellings underneath the Sahara sands right now using LiDAR. So what I'm thinking, or what my studies indicate, is that there was a drastic cut off from the northern parts of Africa over a period of 200 to 300 years. So the Africans who moved south were cut off from what was the epistemology, the knowledge base of the world at the time. So people were exchanging literature, people were coming back with gunpowder, people were exchanging new forms of military strategy, but the Africans were kept out of it. And it was because the Sahara Desert itself was impenetrable. The people who could penetrate it were the families of the Arabs who were there for years. And you had to pay massively for them to guide you through the desert, or you'll die. We see that even today, that people who are crossing, these African migrants trying to go into Europe, if you don't have guides to guide you through where you can have oasis water, people die literally in 24 hours. That is how harsh the terrain is. So the Arabs kept real power by maintaining control of these routes. You pay homage to them. So then Africans were not going up north in the massive amounts where we could exchange information with the world. So we were evolving in our own civilizations. It didn't mean that we were at a standstill. What I'm saying is we lost some advantages of maintaining information, just as Europe, Asia, Middle East were sharing information. They were able to come at it at the same level. But when Africans finally were circumvented, when the Europeans got greedy and could not pay the Arabs anymore, they circumvented, trying to go around, and they encountered Africans. But when they came with superior military presence already. I think Africans were just bamboozled. I think they were completely unprepared for the strategies that these people had been evolving themselves. The Europeans and the Asians were almost on the same place. People were still going to China to buy silk. In the 10th century, we had the Hans, Genghis Khan come all the way down from the steppes and come all the way from Mongolia into what we call Afghanistan today. They were spreading. So there was already exchange of ideas and knowledge and templates. But we in Africa didn't have that. So I think the encounter with Europeans was one of marvel to us. They were showing our kings and our influencers of the time technology that they didn't know. I mean, you'd think about people say we exchanged. Yes, my dear.
I understand what you are saying, and to an extent, I do actually disagree with some of them.
Sure, we
Because
can deliver the points. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the very top of this thing, North Africa, like with no, not North Africa, just below North Africa, which is Mali Empire, Songhai, and the Kush Kingdom, they had encounters, and I've read records about how the king tried to get ammunition, like this thing, cannon and everything. He just didn't get it. He ran out of time, and guess what? Our people were still busy fighting each other like hell during that time.
No. Let me make a point for you. Remember,
the question was, why is it now our people are still, we are talking about ancient information. Now, why is it that our people are still so detached from each other, and the people in authority still keep it that way? Why is it? What is going on?
The answer is simple. The present today, what we experience today, is a result of choices made in the past. So we're living right now in times which are reflections of things that have happened. So we're not, what you're seeing today was incubated 400-500 years ago. That our people are detached from each other because their associations have now become influenced. Again, I use the word influence of the kings to make a point that the people who influence society had become detached themselves from what was valued in our own societies. When we encountered, like I said, when we encounter Europeans as common people, I'm not talking about soldiers trying to go fight and get them. I'm talking about man to man, individuals, the farmer, the engineer who exchanges information. That's what makes society. We were at a disadvantage already because we had been cut off from what was then predominant knowledge. What is happening right now in Africa, again, is because of these artificial systems that have been placed upon us. We have become Africans who identify with colonial borders and colonial systems and colonial realities. I'm telling you this, Tunaija, my father is Togolese, my mother is Ghanaian. They are literally borders across. In fact, you can stand in a home in Togo and throw a stone into a home in Ghana. But these people still feel like they are different. They will stand up and one will claim France and one will claim England. This is how crazy it is. But this is the reality of Africans and Black people, that they have been conditioned to see themselves as not as Africans, but whatever carbon copy has been created for it. This is what is at the root of our problem. We have lost the African mind, and we're living in a situation that is not real. That's all I can say.
And I agree with Rokoya, because this is not something that just happened in Africa. Everywhere we are, this has happened. And no, one moment, okay? Everywhere we are, this has happened, and it continues to happen. And I think that is it right there. Us being conditioned not to see. I mean, Dr. Hendrik Clark told us this. The biggest problem with us is us not seeing ourselves. Even the brothers and sisters on the continent don't see themselves as Africans.
Yeah.
Sister, they see themselves as everything else. Go ahead. Real quick, and then I got to go to someone that did not talk. Go ahead.
Okay, can I say a little bit, Kahaya?
A little bit, yeah.
The problem what we have, because we don't read or learn our history. You know, history is everything. If we need to lead or to do anything, we have to back for history to know who is good for us, who is bad for us. We'll never go anywhere. We'll back and stay here where we are, just talking, just saying, just back. History is why any white man, when he will tell them about the history, he don't want it, because they know if we will go to about the history, they will fail, and then we will see them like our generation. They will see them like, wow, so is this person he have done for us like this until where we are? We have to go for our history. If not, we We are talking nothing. We'll never be together. Nothing. We'll never go anywhere, and we'll never lead where we want. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so I think the next person is it you, Big Z? I don't know anymore. It seems like a lot of folks have been waiting. Is it Big Z? Are you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay.
For me about 10 more minutes.
Okay. So that being said, I'm gonna go to Pekka. Welcome to the conversation. I hope I'm not Mr. Petra or Pekka.
No, that is fine. Yeah, I'm. Are you hearing me? I'm
Yes,
hearing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I thank you for allowing me into this very interesting discussion. Before I make my remarks, I just want to make say a few words about my background so that maybe it will qualify some of the comments I would make. I was born in the Caribbean. I've traveled to several continents. I lived in South Africa, lived in the U.S., been to Canada, and currently live in Europe. And so I've encountered Black people throughout the world. I am not a historian or political scientist. My background is actually quantitative. So I want to qualify all of that to say that what you're hearing from me then is just somebody who is, in a way, a layperson who has just traveled and unobserved. And what you're going to hear coming out is my observations and stuff that my own parents share with me. Now, the theme of tonight's discussion is basically, the rift between immigrants, certainly in the U.S. and, and African immigrants, and that we can lump Caribbean people in there as well. What I have found is a tremendous amount of ignorance of all the parties involved.
Yes.
And at the core of many of these disputes, so to speak, is the notion of low self-esteem, at least from what psychologists define it as, is people who seek external validation of self. That is people, the psychologists say those are people with low self-esteem. So when somebody comes to America and they are quote unquote insulted by a Black American person, that is a way of, that comes out of low self-esteem, and vice versa. When the immigrant, whether African or Caribbean, make comments about African Americans, comes from the same position as well. At the end of the day, both parties don't even know their own history. One of the things that comes out of this ADOS and FBA movement, for example, and some of the even more ridiculous notion about we are indigenous and blah, 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 is that in that famous case in the US, the Brown versus Board of Education case, most Black Americans don't know that the co-counsel of Thurgood Marshall was a Black Constant Baker Motley. Her parents came from a tiny island in the Caribbean. I think it was Anguilla or something. I don't even know they got 60,000 people on that island. And here she is, one of the first Black female appellate court judges, and she is co-counsel. I mean, she's in there with Brown versus Board, a case that ended Jim Crow.
Wow.
Yeah, we could go on. Everybody knows about Marcus Garvey. We know about Farrakhan background, having Caribbean roots and so on. But there's so many people. We know about Stokely Carmichael, but there's so many other people. James Weldon Johnson, the guy who co-wrote the so-called Black National Anthem. His mother is from the Bahamas. One of the largest slave revolts in American history in New Orleans was led by a Haitian. We can talk about Denmark Vesey. Denmark Vesey was a former slave that come from what's now the Virgin Islands of St. Croix. That used to be owned by Denmark. Led what would have been the most successful slave revolt in history. Probably would have been second only to the Haitian Revolution. And guess why he was beat? Guess how that slave revolt was betrayed? Well, one of the Black slaves in there knew some good white people that they knew, and they didn't want them to get caught up in the slave revolt, so they tried to save them, right?
Self-interested.
Well, slave each other, and they ended up executing 37 Black slaves who were part of the revolution. Let's fast forward to Africa. So you could imagine me one day, I'm looking at YouTube, and I saw a guy named Sir Amadou Bello. Well, I say, this guy, important African guy. I want to hear what he has to say. Well, imagine my shock and surprise when Amadou Bello was talking to the BBC, and he says, we hate the Igbo so much that we would prefer a white colonial master, colonial master. We prefer white administrators to do the civil, to run the civil service in the North.
Yes.
And then I learned the history of Biafra and all of that kind of stuff. And that cesspool of pathology. We talk about, I know some people in here might take offense to me when I say, well, we sold each other. Well, let me qualify that a little bit. Not only did we sell each other, we know who did it and we know how they did it. The Hausa Fulani were the ones who brought most of the slaves from the interior and the Congo, etc., to the shores of Ghana or wherever those places are that are now called. That's why there aren't too many Muslim slaves, in the history books. They waged jihad, Islamic jihad, exactly what you name of that group up there in northern Nigeria terrorizing the place. Not just the Fulani herdsmen, but Boko Haram. When Boko Haram kidnapped those girls, I was so shocked and so I said, "What do you mean they kidnapped 240 something girls in particular from the school?" I didn't believe it at first, but when the first word that came out of their mouth was so shocking, they said, "We're going to sell the girls." That's what they said, and I challenge anybody here who didn't hear me to deny that. Tell me what I'm saying is not true. How can a Black African in the 21st century talk about selling Black people?